Alright, so in this video we're doing a headlight restoration. We're gonna wet sand them and then we're going to polish them out. And then in the next video we'll install the PPF. What do you think, Sissy? Are those headlights really foggy?
I don't know.
Can't you see how foggy the headlight is?
No.
Yeah, it's a really blurry. This we bought this. Remember, we bought this from the car dealership, and they did headlight restoration. And what they consider a headlight restoration to be is taking the rotary polisher with a wool pad and just spinning it real fast until it looks halfway shiny. But the problem is they end up burning that top edge of the bumper right there, and they burned it. Of course, at this point we haven't CCR'd it yet. But this, what?
Is that the Mazda CX-9?
Yeah, it's our Mazda CX-9.
Why are you polishing the headlight?
Well, we're doing we're wet sanding.
And why is there tape right there?
Well, so if you don't tape that off, and then you bump that with the sandpaper, then you scratch it up even worse. So you don't want to make too much, damage to the clear coat.
You don't?
No, you don't want to sand into the panel that doesn't need to be sanded.
Really?
Yeah, it'd do damage to it if we don't want it to be sanded. Also, we tape that so when I do the polishing with the rotary, I won't burn any edges or throw any compound into those cracks.
You won't?
Right, because when the dealership guy did it, he jammed, right under the headlight, right where the bottom of the headlight meets the top of the bumper. There's a bunch of compound in there because he was probably at 3,000 RPMs, buzzing away, and they looked terrible. Plus the fact that if you just take a rotary and a wool pad and compound, it'll look decent for a couple months, but then it'll fade very quickly
Gotta
again.
listen. I'm playing a guitar. Okay.
So, yeah, no playing guitars while we're doing the voiceover, sis.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Dada, that Mazda CX-9 looks really foggy. What? I didn't call you annoying.
No, I said talk normally. Use your normal voice.
Really?
So see, they're really foggy now because I'm sanding it. I started with 800 grit. Then I went 1500 and then 2500.
You did?
Yeah. So the lower the number, the heavier the grit, the more it's going to cut and tear into the clear coat. If you don't sand it down, kind of knock off all that gunk, then polishing it is pointless. And then the PPF is going to, if there's some issues, because these headlights are in pretty bad shape, because they're so big and the sun really beats on them. They get faded very, very easily. Like my 2019 Mazda 3, the headlights are kind of flat. They're 90 degrees. It means they're like a wall. They're straight, so the sun can't really hit them. But these, because they're so exposed at the top, the sun slams right into them and fades them. There is a factory UV coating on them, but the sun, and if anybody takes a polisher to it and doesn't put something on to protect it, then they'll fade even quicker. They knock that UV coating off. UV coating is like clear coat for a headlight, but it can fail.
They do?
Yes, they do.
Why do they knock it off?
Well, when you polish it, it takes whatever UV coating is on there, the machine removes it. Yeah, so when you polish that, it takes that UV coating off. So obviously, if you remove the protective coating, what happens to it when it's not protected? It fades and fails. So sanding it will help us when we step it up like that. So like 800, 1500, 2500. We get to 2500. It feels like this blanket right here, real soft and silky.
Dada.
And then you take the machine and polish it right out, and then we'll PPF it.
You work really hard. That thing almost looks foggier than my lip.
Your lip looks foggy?
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a foggy lip before. What is a foggy lip exactly?
It has hair on it.
Like cat hair?
Yeah, Baba, beard hair.
Beard hair? I'm not gonna beard hair on your lip.
What?
Alright, Sissy is left to do her Zoom kindergarten meeting. So yeah, in this episode is it's all about the prep work, the sanding, and then the polishing. So once we get to the polishing step, I will mention what I used, the speeds, the machine, as soon as we get to that part. Oh, we're at that part now. So obviously I'm using a rotary polisher. I like using rotary polishers to polish the headlights. Using a wool pad. Is an optimum wool pad, so it's not traditional long fluffy fibers. And of course I'd like to use, this is actually a DA pad, but you can still use it for the rotary. You use a big giant oversized fluffy wool pad, you end up hitting everything along with the headlight, so it'll run along the edges of paint, and I just don't, I want to concentrate on the headlight, so I'm using hyper compound. Hyper compound is a sprayable, I think it's a first patented sprayable compound, really good stuff. No dusting, or very, very little dusting. So I think I'm running probably 600, 800 RPMs. So the slower and the cooler you keep it, the faster it'll cut. Obviously I'm polishing, get that clarity back. You can see the clarity starting to come back. So the reason I use PPF to protect headlights is doing all this work, and this sort of thing is not that big of a deal. It's not that much work, but PPF is 8 mils thick, and it can take impact from anything that you'll find along the road, normal stuff, not talking about hitting a tree or something, but it will withstand that abuse. It can be coated, and it's adds gloss. It will cover up some slight fading, some scratches. It'll kind of fill in some of that stuff, just like CCR does. Lens coating, I like lens coating as well. It's like a ceramic coating for the headlight, just like the ceramic coating for the paint. But obviously that'll protect the headlight from fading, but it doesn't really have much for impact resistance. So PPF is just, it's the best choice, I think. The normal charge for restoring and PPFing 2 headlights, right around $150. Most headlight replacements, $200-300 a pop. I remember I had a one Honda Accord. That Honda headlight was $220, I think, just for one of them. So you're looking at over $400 if you have to replace 2 headlights. So $150 is not that much money. So here I'm running 500 RPMs or so. Switch to a medium cut pad and hyper polish. So obviously, whatever, if there's some slight hazing from the wool pad and the compound, I'm polishing to get even more clarity, kind of remove that hazing. And then in the next video, we'll be installing the PPF. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you subscribe, like this video, and hit the bell and hit the notification bell and click all so that you can get notified on any video we put out. Thanks for watching.